related. But joining us now is a man who does nothing except break news and has explosive books. The latest one came out when? Yesterday?
It officially launches today.
Today, fantastic. And Peter, so nice for you to be in studio. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see him. He's the president of the Government Accountability Institute. You know him because he wrote the best-selling book Clinton Cash. He had a movie about it. And his newest book is called Secret Empires: How Our Politicians Hide Corruption and Enrich Their Families and Friends. If you wonder why people who make six figures but not the high six figures end up with huge mansions and big legacies while in office and never had another job, is this what this book's about?
Yeah, this is exactly what this book's about, and it's doing it undetected. So, Brian, we have these disclosure laws, right, that say if I'm a congressman, a senator, or president of the United States, I have to disclose my assets, I have to disclose sources of income, all that kind of stuff. Well, they've figured out a way around it, because what they do, Brian, is they say, you know what, I'm not going to get the deal. My spouse is not going to get the deal because they have to disclose. We're going to give the deal to my adult kid. Or we're going to give it to my best friend, in the case of Barack Obama, or we're going to give it to a parent, because then it's not detected. We don't even have to disclose it. And the amounts of money are shocking. You know, we think of corruption, we think of Congressman Jefferson, you know, with the $90,000 that he had in his
refrigerator.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we think. $90,000 is chump change compared. We're talking in some cases about billion-dollar deals.
I'll give you an example. And it's not just Democrats, it's not just Republicans, it's both.
Right.
And here's an example, the Bidens. You know, Joe Biden rode the train. Everyone says he's a blue-collar guy. How does he end up so rich, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is an example. Hunter Biden, and sad what they had to go through as a kid, losing their mom, and he almost died. I get that. And then Bo's tragic brain cancer. But it doesn't mean Hunter gets a pass.
That's exactly right. And in the case of Hunter Biden, while his father was vice president, I mean, he cashed in from Beijing to the Ukraine. And these were deals that were done, in the case of China, with the Chinese government. 3 major deals where the Chinese government, in one case, gave him $1.5 billion to invest in a private equity deal for a guy, Hunter Biden, who has no background in private equity. There's nothing on his credentials that indicate he has any reason to get this. He gets it 10 days after he visits Beijing, China, aboard Air Force Two with his dad. His dad is negotiating with the Chinese all these sensitive issues about the South China Sea, and Biden actually on this trip in 2013 gets criticized for being soft on the Chinese. I think part of the reason is this deal was in the works.
Peter, and I'm just going to just fast forward just off the top of my head. They made islands. They start dominating the South China Sea. They start buzzing our ships. And then they do this thing called when the president lands to visit for the last time, they harass the press. They put him into a small room and make the president leave through an emergency exit in the fuselage of Air Force One.
Right.
So we're not gaining any respect that way.
That's exactly right. Listen, China is a rival power. I think everybody recognizes that. What the Chinese have figured out, Brian, is Republican or Democrat, the way we try to weaken resolve, the way we basically buy off politicians is by juicing in family members.
And I tell you what, Mitch McConnell, Elaine Chao, his wife, now working with the Trump administration. You see, you have a problem with this relationship.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, in this case...
Not with each other.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, in this case, the Chao family, they're in the shipping business, and their shipping business is entirely dependent upon the good graces of the government in Beijing. The China State Shipbuilding Corporation, which is a state-owned entity in China, which is the largest military contractor in China, they build all their ships. They finance the building of their ships. They provide crews for their ships. They provide contracts to ship other state-owned companies' goods. And the problem is this relationship is so close, Brian, that Elaine Chao's father and sister both joined the board of CSSC Holdings, which is a Chinese defense contractor. They joined the board of directors under modified names. So when you look at the board of directors of this company in 2007, 2008, it's not even apparent who these people are.
Why? I mean, if you're changing your name, you're hiding something.
Well, yes. I mean, that certainly is an implication for it. And the bottom line is Mitch McConnell and Elaine Chao directly benefit from this because in 2008, Mitch McConnell and Elaine Chao get a gift from Elaine Chao's father of between $5 and $25 million. They only have to disclose the range. They don't have to give the exact amount. And that money comes directly as a result of all the money they're making with the help of the Chinese government.
Unbelievable. And so when the president puts forth Friday $50 billion worth of tariffs, watch the bipartisan pushback. Maybe it's not so genuine. So as we look at President Obama and Mrs. Obama, we're used to presidents getting out and being broke for years.
Right.
And have to do speeches to change things around. What about the Obamas?
Well, in the case of the Obamas, you have this very interesting situation where Barack Obama's best friend, very few people know or have heard this name, a guy named Marty Nesbitt, a friend from Chicago, very close. They always went on vacation together when Barack Obama was president. When Barack Obama gets reelected in 2012, his best friend sets up this company called Vistria Partners, which is going to invest in what they call, quote, highly regulated industries. Now, of course, his best friend, Marty Nesbitt's best friend, is the regulator-in-chief. So this is a great arrangement. And what basically happens is Barack Obama smashes companies. University of Phoenix, for-profit college. The Pentagon, Barack Obama's Pentagon says, we don't like the way this company operates. We're going to suspend GI Bill money from going to this company. The stock price of University of Phoenix goes from $100 a share down to $3 a share. Guess who steps in and buys the company for pennies on the dollar? That would be Barack Obama's best friend. His best friend buys it. The Pentagon suddenly says, you know what, we've had a change of heart. We're going to allow GI Bill money to flow to this company again.
John Kerry, who's already a multimillionaire because he married into it, what's the deal?
Well, you've got his son, or stepson, Chris Hines, and you've got a close aide, a guy named Devin Archer, who was co-chairman of his finance committee. They're involved in a couple of deals involving China as well. There's this offshore entity they've set up called Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners. A Chinese government company puts $38 million into this, as John Kerry is negotiating with Beijing. They then further another Chinese government company that is linked to the Chinese Navy puts in money into a real estate venture called Rosemont Realty, which Chris Hines and Devin Archer are involved in. So this is all going on in the context while their fathers are negotiating with Beijing.
You're going to mock President Trump for being America first? These guys haven't put America first.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, you're compromised financially and emotionally because the Chinese have helped you out. Why be tough on them? They seem like nice guys. This is so abhorrent. We're going to find out more of that in your book that comes out today. Don't feel bad if you haven't seen it. It just dropped. Secret Empires, How Our Politicians Hide Corruption and Enrich Their Families and Friends. Peter, we got to have you back.
I'd love to.
Congratulations on some great hard work. This is blue collar work.
Right,
Byron
thanks.
York is next. Brian Kilmeade Show.